This time every year, I tend to talk about one light gun game because it is the main staple of this channel. It was the reason I started this channel to begin with. So this time around is no exception. Virtua Cop 2 is an arcade game developed by Sega AM2 and was released at the arcade in 1995, 30 years ago. A Dreamcast version was then released 5 years later, which is the version we will be looking at. Virtua Cop 1 and 2 are pretty much similar, so yeah, I'm just gonna go straight to the second game, and if you play the first one or the second one, you ain't missing anything anyway. Anyway, the game starts off with an intro showing there was some bad guy robbing a bank, or should I say some jewelry store, wherever in this virtual city where crime runs rampant. We see some cop attempt to fight back only to get their car blown up. And then our main protagonist appear in a car and start to shoot back at them. I swear to God though, this is literally Gotham City Police Department, where everyone are simply useless. Like seriously, you got a bunch of cops here that cannot get the job done until the two heroes come in to finish it. What is this, Jim Gordon? Harry Bullock? Oh, sorry. Got a little sidetracked there. Oh yeah, by the way, Gotham series. What a fantastic series, especially for season 1. I like how each episode talks about how, the series is just crimes, the city is full of crimes, and each episode shows case a criminal that do their thing, and Jim and Harvey always able to stop them. And then they all fell apart from season 2 onward, where they introduced all these villains that would become the main staple of the Batman series. For a series that focused on Bruce Wayne though, Batman origin, all the villains show up before Bruce become the Bat that we all know and love. More like Jim Gordon is the actual Batman, am I right? So yeah, season 1, despite people saying it was terrible, I actually enjoy it. It showcased the life of some of the characters, what they were going through, the gangs, the cops, Bruce, Penguin, Fish, Cat, Alfred, just to name a few, Falcon. Just showcasing what they were doing, and I thought the show has a good premise. And then season 2, they're able to pave the story pretty well compared to the first one. They introduced a bunch of other villains and onwards until the end of the series. And yeah, I feel like, what was the point showing all this villain when Bruce hasn't become Batman? Yeah, I don't understand. Speaking of which, Lord Robin Taylor, he's a national treasure. He nails Batman. He nails Penguin or Oswald Cobblepot pretty perfectly. Like, that guy is so psychotic and I love it. Oh yeah, that was the reason I make this video, because I have an excuse to talk about Gotham just a brief moment. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. Anyway, you put in the quarter and you start the game, and you can select one of the 3 cases. Each cases has their arising difficulty. And of course, if you know what you're doing, you can start at the end. The gameplay is pretty simple. You shoot at the bad guys and avoid getting hit because you're the top cop and everyone else relies the hope on you to stop the criminal from running rampant in this chaotic city. Yada yada yada, you know the drill. For a game that came out in 1995, I understand the appeal. It was the first game to introduce 3D polygon from Sega that would pave the way to other arcade games down the road. I find the game to be just okay. I mean, the game is pretty much basic. You shoot the bad guy before they shoot back at you, and that's it. I mean, there's this vertical thing that zoom in on the criminal. I mean, it's a fun novelty where the game implies that you had to be very quick at every shot to avoid getting injured. But other than that though, the game is pretty basic and doesn't offer much for a 1995 game. Anyway, like I said, this game has a fun feature where the game has reticle that zoom in on the enemy to make sure you don't shoot the wrong people. More on that later. And that's pretty much more the entire case of this game. You shoot them before the clock reaches the top of the hour, and that's it. You advance forward and shoot down as many criminals as quickly as possible to liberate the city of Virtua. Because you are the only one who can do it, including your buddy. In this case, Jim Gordon as player 1 and Harvey Bullock as player 2. You and player 2 take on the road to stop the criminals. That at least you have friends, which I don't. Then shoot the enemies before the ticker reaches the top becoming red, and you can save the day. While you're at it, the game also have different crates for you to destroy that holds different items. For example, you can pick up different weapons in order to have different effects that will help you in your way. You can have your rifle, you can have a shotgun, or even a magnum, just to name a few, and it can help you to blast away the enemy for as long as you can do it. The weapons stay with you until the moment you get hit. I suppose the moment between shooting, reloading, and then try to shoot back again before getting shot back is exhilarating, and not gonna lie, and kinda addicting though. You try to shoot them before the meter becomes red and reach 12 o'clock of death, and try to just make sure you don't hit anyone else. Speaking of which, somebody help me! Those people, or should I say, those idiots are everywhere. Every time you shoot them, you are running a risk of shooting them, because every time you shoot the bad guys, the good guys always jump out it suddenly, and you don't have any time to react unless you memorize their pattern. I swear to God, every time I shoot this thing and was very confident, this idiot jumped up and made me lose a life. You would expect the hostages already run away or just hide somewhere, but no, they just have to jump out and just ruin your day and ruin your streak. Why? You know, it's not like in other, drama TV series cliche where the hostages run out, blocking the main character view and letting the enemy escape. Here, even though the hostages are in front of you, you still have to thread through the needle and shoot back at the suckers, am I right? While you're shooting your enemies, you can also perform some trick like doing justice shot, where you aim at the enemies with the hand holding the weapon to make it drop off, making sure you are a good cop that doesn't misuse your power in order to rank up as a top officer. You don't like war crime. Hashtag, this cop hates war crime. Like I said at the beginning, there are 3 maps for you to choose, and you can select which one you want to tackle first. Each location have their unique themes to it. For starter, you got this robbing scene for the jewelry store, and then you have this car chase, with this regarding any of the civilians on the road. After you finish that, you arrive at a fork where you can choose between 2 paths that branches off into different sections. The second case where you fight in this cruise jet section around the lounge, going upstairs and shoot up everything and causing much chaos as possible. Third case, the subway station. You go downstairs, fight the enemy, go into the train, and while the train going on, I'm surprised that the train conductor is still operating the train despite there's a gunfire happening behind him. You peek out from the window, shooting at some rivals on top of a helicopter, get back in, and shoot at many targets when possible. Wow, this city is really chaotic. Each case ends with a boss at the end, and once you beat them, you arrive to the next one. Finish all 3 boss, you are the final boss that I assume is Penguin, the cunning boss that just wouldn't go away. Yeah, let's assume that's him. You finish him, the case is solved, all criminals defeated, all the other officers arrive to liberate the area, and you and your rival, Buddy, take your car and head in the sunset. Disregarding all the chaos and destruction, you left those behind you as you go receive your paycheck and become the top officer and become the defender of Virtua City. The end. Virtua Cop 2 is a pretty solid game. Just because I don't like the game doesn't mean it's that bad. It's really exhilarating, going back and forth, the camera zooming in and out, shooting every enemy, and get the timing right before the enemy shoot back at you. Unfortunately though, compared to Virtua Cop 1, which was slower, the level here are much more fast paced, which is supposed to be okay, but because the level become much tougher and the levels can be very long, your arm holding the gun will be screaming to take a break. While the game has variety compared to the first one, it's more the same anyway, and if you play either one, you're not missing the other one anyway. The game was re-released multiple times, PC, Saturn, Dreamcast, and even the bundled with the first game along with 2 in Virtua Cop Elite Edition for the PlayStation 2. 5 years later, at the turn of a new millennium, Sega will release Virtua Cop successor that is Confidential Mission. The game contains cheesy dialogue, really cringy plotline, and the game is not supposed to be taken seriously, and I suppose you should be drunk while playing it to enjoy the whole crazy ride. I don't know though, I find the whole story to be just cringy. And then in 2003, Sega would release Virtua Cop 3, the true sequel that we wanted a long time ago for the arcades. Unfortunately though, never see a home port, unless you jailbreak your Xbox that is. And as of March of 2025, Virtua Cop hasn't returned yet, and probably never will. I mean, we haven't heard anything about Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, Streets of Rage, and despite a little bit teaser for Shinobi, you just wonder if Sega will actually take their IP seriously. You know, I'm still waiting for their arcade collection standalone title instead of just bundling it in their next Yakuza game. So yeah, I rest my case, that's it. Another year when I talk about liking the game, done in the book. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next adventure.